Alright?
I want the baby because I don't want to kill the baby. I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to.
You're not. They just give you a pill and then it's over.
No. No. I'm pregnant.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The pill, they just give it to you from a doctor and then you're good.
I am pregnant. I can't pretending like nothing happened. I can't. In my religion, we don't.
You're not. Okay.
I want to keep the baby.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just don't want any kids. You know?
Okay, so what you gonna do? And what you gonna do to me?
Nothing. Well, why did I do anything to you?
Nothing?
Why did I do anything to you?
No, I know. So, like, how are you gonna deal with this? By saying I don't want a baby? That's all?
I mean, I could go to the doctor, I guess.
To the doctor. So you want a bullshit?
I mean, yeah. Why do you want a kid now?
Myron and Walter of Fresh&Fit are two quote-unquote red pill YouTube/podcasters that are part of what I guess you would call the manosphere, to teach men how to be alpha males. Or at least that's what they claim. This sounds fairly familiar from people like Andrew Tate, Jack Murphy, or if you really want to go digging deep, Coach Red Pill. Yeah, we all wanted to forget about that one. Yikes. Though these people would come and go, it's almost always the same story. Someone backstabs others in a cowardly beta way, some get caught being a closeted beta, or after preaching how to be quote-unquote responsible men, they beg women for baby terminations because they could not help but act on their impulses and refuse to take responsibility. This is how Fresh&Fit got exposed. Hey everyone, back again with my first video series exposing grifters. Maybe I'll call it Grift Watch or something, I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comment section below. Also, I just learned that Myron calls himself Fit and Walter calls himself Fresh. This is very cringy. I always thought the name was a good name for a podcast, but to know that one of them is named Fresh and the other one is named Fit just kind of ruins it. If you could not tell, I've never really watched these guys before. I do not need to watch these red pill type podcasts slash content since I'm not a beta male. And I don't need help like that in my life. All any man needs to do if they want to be more alpha, hit the gym. Eat right. If you cannot do that, there's no video in the world that's going to help you out. It all starts with taking care of yourself. If you cannot take care of yourself, you cannot take care of others. I would know since I was pretty overweight nearly a year ago. Though I was not overweight when I first had my kids and got with my wife, gaining weight made me realize that taking care of them was significantly more difficult. So just take care of yourselves. Anyone offering how to teach you to be alpha for money is more than likely a scammer. And you'll see here in this video. Myron and Walter started the Fresh&Fit podcast on October 26th of 2020. The podcast holds conversations regarding financial gains, dating advice, and gender roles. Now, I'm not going to get into their real names because I just don't care. You can look them up for yourself. I'm not going to try and pronounce it, and like I said, it's kind of weird to me that they have real names, then they go by Myron and Walter, and then they also go by Fresh&Fit. I don't understand that. I don't get it, so whatever. Anyway, during their after-hours shows, the podcast brings in young women to discuss issues relating to dating, relationships, traditional masculinity, and feminism. The podcast has featured a variety of guests such as Rollo Tomasi, Destiny, Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Michael Blackson, Waka Flocka Flame, Antonio Brown, Quentin Rampage Jackson, and David Benavid. I don't know if I can pronounce this name. Benavidez? I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered any names, but, you know, just the way it is. Fresh&Fit has been criticized for its hosts' opinions regarding women and relationships, often associating them with misogyny. You know, that good old buzzword. A great example of this quote-unquote misogyny would be explaining to a woman that having a high body count or selling herself on OnlyFans or being an escort makes them low-value women. And while I'm not here to explain which side I have taken on this opinion, I am here to say that if you are a person who feels that makes women low value, what does that mean when you engage with them and have relationships with them? It would mean their principles align with them being, well, as they put it, simps or cucks. You know what I'm saying? Which I understand people coming to that conclusion for sure. I'm just saying. But when they're sitting here saying that being a simp or a cuck is bad, and then they go and start simping and cucking, I mean, at that point, what are you gonna do? It's kind of amazing, isn't it? But we saw that with Jack Murphy, didn't we? And we see that with many others that come into this whole manosphere space, and it's cringy to watch. Ever since these two started this podcast, women have been accusing them of mistreating them, begging for baby terminations, and pestering OnlyFans creators to sleep with them. Almost all of these cases were written off as angry women who got mad when called out and seeking revenge. Now, I'm not sure that that's the case. While I was never a fan of this podcast, when I heard of this, I myself assumed that it was just petty revenge and lies. However, the clip you saw at the beginning of this video makes me question the past accusations. While it doesn't mean the past accusations were not lies, seeing that Walter did absolutely do something along the lines as to what was claimed, it puts everything into question. This is probably the biggest accusation against Fresh and Fit. I'll let the video speak for itself. However, now this story seems a lot more believable, though it still very well could be fake. Let's go ahead and watch it.
I'm like ready to eat food with everybody. So we tell Walter, can we go get food? And he's like, yeah, sure, like let's get in the car. So we get in the car, my friend is in the front seat, I'm in the back seat, Walter's in the front. And they're driving, and Myron just kept saying like, oh, do you want to go get something to eat? I'm like, yeah, sure, like let's go with my friend and Walter. And he was like, yeah, sure. I also tried getting Myron out to the club. So again, like I didn't want to be alone with him. And he refused to go to the club because he said club's for losers, but it's great for girls. I don't know what he meant by that. But so Walter, my friend was like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, let's get food with each other. And Walter looked over and like signaled her like, no, like we're not doing that. So eventually like we pull up in front of the podcast apartment, and Myron's coming out of the building, and I get out of the car, and Walter leaves with my friend and took her to like another club. So I'm with Myron by myself. So we get into his car, and he drives us to like this spot. I don't know why it was open at 5 a.m., but we sat down, we ate food. And mind you, from the minute I saw him when I got out of the car to the minute that I left with him, I was debating him the whole time. And not even debating, just telling him how much I hate his views and like him himself. And fun fact, he told me that he's never been in a relationship. So I had asked him, so what gives you the right to sit there and have a podcast?
Wait. He's never been in a relationship?
That's what he claimed. He said that, yeah, he's had a few girls here and there. I think he mentioned it on the episode that I was on too, but he said he's never been in a relationship before.
So you're telling me these toxic red pill this theory of men can cheat, women can't, has not worked out for him really at all, has it?
We get to like this restaurant, and I basically ask him like, what are your political views? I'm asking about all of his views, because I'm thinking like, if Walter's this nice off camera, maybe Myron's the same way. Nope, I was wrong. In fact, he's worse. But so whatever. The whole time I'm just like asking him his views. I'm debating him. He said something about like the thing too that his habit is that he spits out vocab vomit, and he thinks that he sounds smart. But it's like I'm confused. Like speak like we're off camera. You can speak English now, not red pill beta. Like no. Yeah. And he just doesn't stop. So like I'm just like whatever. So that's the whole conversation throughout the dinner. And then we're driving back, and mind you, I had said like, oh, we're gonna go meet my Walter and my friend now, right? And he said yeah. I'm talking to him. I'm facing him in the driver's seat. I'm still going. I'm passionate and heated, telling him my views and stuff. And we end up back at the podcast studio. So I'm like like I'm ready to go home, and we get back up into the podcast studio, and we go inside, and he's like, oh, I'm just picking up something. I just had to grab something from the studio. And again, it's like 4 or 5 a.m. in Miami, and like no one's in the studio, but the lights are all on. They have everything set up, and I already knew the way of the apartment. So I'm sitting in the kitchen area of the podcast studio, and he comes over to me and he says, of course you would wear your shoes, because I forgot to take off my shoes.
What?
And and he was like, of course you would wear your shoes. And then I had like this little vape that my friend had, and I think I hit it once, and he goes, oh, and of course you would do that in here too. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like I started laughing because I thought he was joking, but he seemed very upset. So I was like, okay. So he said, oh, you can just go to the balcony with your shoes and everything. And I was like, okay. I'm walking out to the balcony, and there's like a door that I hadn't seen open before. Like basically it's an apartment that they made into a studio. So that was the bedroom. So I'm walking like towards the bedroom into the balcony, like towards the balcony, and he's standing in the door frame, and he just grabs my face and kisses me.
Wow. There you go. He was reading the room, good at reading the signal.
Yeah. And awesome. Kisses me. I'm like, no thanks. Like, I'm like, no thanks. Mind you, this man is like 6'7".
Did he lead with tongue or no?
I don't even like thinking about it. Actually,
right, I'm sorry. No,
right. It's okay.
Let's not relive that moment.
Guys, I just want to make very clear, very, very clear. I am not defending Ethan. I'm not defending his podcast or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that I am a fan of it or anything along those lines. I'm just simply showing you the clip in which this person accused Myron. That's all I'm doing here. Just want to make that perfectly clear so people don't go, oh, you're an H3 shill. No. I'm just showing you this clip. Okay, I'm not even saying the clip is legitimate. I'm not saying that she's not lying. I'm just saying, looking at this clip after all the accusations that came out gives this clip just a little bit more credibility. That doesn't mean it's actually true. I'm just saying, from that perspective, it makes it a little bit more credible. I just wanted to jump in and say that. Again, this video could be fake, but I have to question it. When you get caught lying about your principles, it shows what you are really doing. Grifting. It's like catching a preacher saying that he does not believe in God, or a Buddhist eating meat, or a teacher saying that she hates kids. God knows that we've all experienced that, right? You immediately understand that there are ulterior motives for those people in those positions, usually money, or something even more disgusting that I will not get into. I'm sure we can all imagine. People immediately become suspicious, as they should. The same goes for Fresh and Fit, or in general, any YouTube channel / podcast for the manosphere. They prey upon young men who are not confident in the world and run off with their money. Guys, do not fall for this. I'm going to get into some of the Miss Cheeks allegations. I'm going to read a few of her tweets and also tell you a little bit about what she accused Myron of doing. Not Walter, but Myron. She accused Myron of being very forceful with her. She said that she was not assaulted. Okay, let's put it that way. That everything was consensual for the most part, except for when she would say she wasn't wanting to do certain things in bed. And he was like, well, we're gonna do this anyway, more or less. I tend to believe those stories just a little bit more, simply because she doesn't go off onto a wild tangent about how, like, everything was forced. It was never consensual or anything like that. She was like, no, I was there to do this. It's just, he wanted to do things that I didn't necessarily want to do in those moments, and that's where problems came about. She also claims that he wanted a woman to just do what he tells her to do. Things like that. So, pretty cringy. Pretty cringy. I don't have a way of verifying this, so guys, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying it lines up with the other things that they are accused of, and it lines up with what Walter did. So let's get into some of the tweets. So I'm going to share the tweets that are honestly more interesting to me. Just the parts that kind of line up a little bit more with what Walter had done. She says, it's all part of his game, and to make matters worse, he created a life with me. He lied and told me that he was 99% sure he hadn't, but that I should take a plan B anyways. I didn't take one because they make me extremely sick, and if he was 99% sure, I didn't feel the need to. And now he's handling it like a complete a-hole. I have been depressed for 2 weeks. I've left the house once, and now I'm in a new state / city by myself and having to get a baby termination. Alone. He says he'll be by my side for it, but I don't want that type of energy around me at all. Now, there are more details, and her account was suspended off of Twitter. I have no idea what it was about, but you can find the tweets. There's a guy's video that goes over him. He completely interviews Miss Cheeks. I'll link it down in the description below. If I don't link it down in the description below, please remind me in the comments so that I could throw it up there. I'll get it up there as soon as possible. I just hope I remember by the time I edit this video. But there's more to it. There's a whole interview. It's very interesting to listen to the whole thing. I just don't have that kind of time for this video to put it all in here. So please watch that video. It's pretty interesting, and it lines up with how they act. At least how Walter acts. I understand Myron's a different person, right? So if you all want to go defend Myron, be my guest. I'm not comfortable doing that, seeing that they work together. They preach all the same stuff together. I mean, I'm just very skeptical. Now let's circle back around to the claim against Walter for getting that woman pregnant. It does not matter if she was lying or not. Understand this, guys. It does not matter. That's not what anybody's mad about, okay? That's fine that she lied. I agree that she's a bad person if she lied. Maybe she didn't lie. I don't know. I don't care. That's irrelevant to me. The point is, he believed she was pregnant, and he asked for a termination. Another point, he got with someone that was an escort. He said she wasn't, okay? There's a bunch of lying going on here. Then they're trying to claim, oh, I didn't know she was an escort. I found out later. Oh, BS, dude. Come on, really? Here's a fun fact about that. You all belittle men who fall for that. You belittle men who fall for women pulling the wool over their eyes. And then you also belittle men for getting with these type of people. You call them simps. Both of those scenarios, you call them simps. And then it happens to you guys. So if anything, it's karma. But we know that that's not really what happened. Come on. You were so sure. And you've been caught on your show before bringing a girl out to your yacht. And that was a hilarious clip.
It's very different from every girl you meet in Miami when I've heard you speak about every girl in Miami before. You generalize.
No, that being said,
When I met her, I saw she hadn't been tainted yet. She hadn't been like in certain circles where like, you know what? Damn, she's gone through the street.
Why do you think she's interested in you?
Ask her.
I was gonna say, can I answer this? I feel like the first day that I met you, having that genuine conversation on the boat, like
on the boat. Was it 60 foot long? Was it 85 foot?
I couldn't even tell you.
The whole point is, the only solution for him was to just shut up, according to his lawyer that came onto the show. He could not help but embarrass himself. Take a look for yourself.
2 words, my friend, that are not in your vocabulary currently, and they haven't been for years, and it's the reason why you're successful. But you need to repeat those 2 words after me, so let's practice together right now. Ready? No.
No.
Comment.
Oh, comment. Okay. Okay.
No.
No.
Comment.
Comment. All right.
Okay, so you've got to learn to say that.
Wait.
And it's really unfortunate because I know you are dying to talk about many of the things, many of the counter narrative, the facts as opposed to the fictions, the way that things are weaponized and weaponized inappropriately, the massive holes in stories, that there's a lot to be discussed. But revenge is a dish best served cold.
Wait,
and right now, there are civil and criminal penalties for the kinds of behaviors that we're looking at right now. So I want you, as your counsel, and again, you're free to ignore my advice. Plenty of times people ignore my advice, and sometimes I'm grateful when they do it because it creates a lot more chaos, which makes me a lot more money. Peace does not make me any money. Chaos makes me money. But I'm telling you, my advice to you, and I've said this to you earlier privately, is there has to be, for the moment, no specific comment. There really has to be, because the level of issues that are being caused right now by a third party in terms of what they're exposing themselves to. There's an old saying, never interrupt the enemy when they're in the process of committing suicide. And this is a situation where you are, as much as I know, you are dying to get the counter narrative and the facts out there, the reality out there, as opposed to the garbage that's out there right now.
Yeah.
An intelligent, strategic, successful man knows that irrationality, impulsivity, and emotionalism are luxuries reserved for the ladies. They are not for an intelligent, strategic, thoughtful man who is making tactical moves on the advice of counsel. So that is my little rant. That is my little caveat. And I'm glad you gave me the chance to say.
I got to say one thing, though.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
we do have the phone call.
But I will say this. I personally should not have nutted within a 304 like this. Now, granted, things happen, whether true or not. But like you said, James, I'll keep my mouth shut. There's also info here I want to share with the chat. But I will tell you with a very high degree of confidence, knowing a lot more about the situation than anyone in the situation other than the gentleman himself, that there is a lot more happening here and a lot more information that if you were a reckless individual and ignoring my advice as counsel, you would unleash immediately both barrels. But I appreciate that you are at least following some of my advice. The fact that we're talking about this at all means you're not completely following my advice. The reality is you don't talk, you walk, and the talking is about this stuff just gives it oxygen. I mean, you're just giving this individual's 15 minutes, another 15 minutes. I understand why you're doing it. I understand that it's important to want to protect yourself, and I understand that your partner here is less restrained and certainly wants to protect you, which I respect the bonds of brotherhood in that way. But you want to finish listening to the last few seconds of this Oscar-worthy performance?
Yeah.
After all of this, are there still people falling for their garbage? For their grift? At first they claim she was not an escort, like I said. By the end of it, she was nothing but a streetwalker. Constantly changing their stories. Constantly doing the opposite of what a quote-unquote alpha male is. He either fell for her being an escort or got involved knowing. Both of these are considered wrong in their eyes, yet this is how they operate. They claim women do not want to take responsibility, yet both of them did not want to be responsible for knocking up a woman. I hope this video helps some of you as to not fall for these grifters. I understand if you still want to watch them. I understand if you still think they're great and everything like that. Just stop funding them, guys. Stop giving them your money. What is giving them your money going to do for you? People like that do not give you any type of return. They don't do anything for you. It's just silly. You want to do something better for yourself, work on yourself. Eat better, lose the gut. I had a big old gut. I don't anymore. At least not as big. Still there. I don't have a six-pack yet, but hey, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, and that's the point. Work on yourself. This will build you confidence. That's not all that you need to do to build confidence, because even very overweight, I was still very confident. This is what's crazy. I was the shyest kid in my school. Guaranteed. All the way through high school. Very shy. I got over that. I actually took a college speech class for me to get over that, believe it or not. So maybe you all need to take a class. If you're very shy on speaking to people in public, maybe speech is the way to go. Taking a public speaking class, that opened up a lot for me. That made me not so shy anymore. But that worked for me. For you, might not work out, but I would suggest doing your best to get over it, because talking to people is not difficult. Who cares what they think? And that's at the end of the day, that's kind of what you got to get in your head is, I don't care how stupid I make myself sound in front of you. At the end of the day, I'm going to go home and have a good time. So there's that. Stop falling for these grifters, guys. Seriously, I really hope this helps. I have quite a few more videos that I'm going to be making about grifters coming soon. And I mean a lot. I'm going to be going over so many different people. So you'll want to stay tuned for this. This is going to be a hell of a ride. So thank you all so much for coming. Please like, subscribe, and share. It helps me more than anything, and I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you guys here in the next one. Later.